Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Welcome to day 22 of Purushottama month. As usual, for the last 21 days, we have been reciting chapter 15 in Sanskrit and the translations of the chapter along with Chaurashtakam, beautiful devotional song composed by Vilumangal Thakur. So today's Chaurashtakam singing will be done by Sri Ram, and then we will have the chapter 15 recitation by Dhruv, and then the translations will be read by Tristan. So I will now hand it over to Sri Ram. Sri Ram, beta, take it over, and I will start sharing my screen. Harita, you're on mute. We cannot hear you if you're speaking. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I think Harita is trying to join back. Who is iPhone 2 user? Can you please let us know who you are?
Mataji, Mohana Mataji.
Okay, no worries.
I'm changing my name. One minute.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, as long as I know who it is, that's fine. Because I wanted to see if Harita cannot join somebody to sing.
No.
Harita is here. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Sriram beta.
Issues, yeah. Go ahead.
व्राजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं कोपाङ्गनानां चतुकुलचौरम् अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि श्रीराधिकाया हृदयस्य चौरं नवाम्बुधश्यामलकान्तिचौरम् पदाश्रितं यच समस्तचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि अकिञ्चने कृत्य पदाश्रितं य करोति भिक्षुं ततिगेहहीनं केनाभ्यहो व्यञ्जनचौरैदृक् दृष्टाश्रुतो वा न जगत्त्रयेऽपि यदीयनामाभिहारात्यशेषं गिरिप्रसरानपि पापरासिन् आश्चर्यरूपो ननु चौरैदृक् दृष्टाश्रुतो वा न मया कदापि दानं च मानं च तातेन्द्रियाणि प्राणं च हृत्वा मम सर्वमेव पलायसे कृतो धृतदाचौरा त्वां भक्तिदामांसि मया निरुदा छिन्दांसि कौरं यमपासबन्धं विन्दांसि भीमां भवपासबन्धं छिन्दांसि सर्वस्य समस्तचौरं न वाग्मनो भक्तकृतं तु बन्धं मन्मानसे तामां शिरसि गौरे काराग्रहे दुःखमया निबन्ध लभस्य हे चौरहरे चिरार्य स्वचौरदोषोषितमेव दन्दं कराग्रहे वस सदा हृदये मदीयी मद्भक्तिपासादृतबन्धनलिच्छन् आम कृष्ण हे प्रलय कोटि संतरेपि सर्वसचौरा हृदया नहि मोचमामि Vraje prasiddham navanita chauram Kopangananam chadukula chauram Vraje prasiddham navanita chauram Kopangananam chadukula chauram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Thank you.
Thank you for singing so beautifully. Very, very nice singing.
Thank you.
How are you, Sriram?
I'm good.
Good, good, good. Very nice singing. Thank you so much. You want to read the translation too, or you want your mom to read?
I think I can read the
You
translation.
can read? Okay. Yes, I know you can read. Yes, go ahead.
I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves, who is famous in Vraja as the butter thief, and he who steals the gopis' clothes, and who, for those who take shelter of him, steals the sins which have accrued over many lifetimes. I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves, who steals Srimati Radhika's heart, who steals the dark luster of a fresh rain cloud, and who steals all the sins and sufferings of those who take shelter of his feet. He turns his surrendered devotees into paupers and wandering, homeless beggar, alas! Such a fearsome thief has never been seen or heard in all of the three worlds. Mere utterance of his name purges on a mountain of sins. Such an astonishingly wonderful thief I've never seen or heard anywhere. O thief, having stolen my wealth, my honor, my senses, my life, and my everything. Where can you run to? I have caught you with my rope of devotion. You cut the terrible noose of Yamaraja. You severed the dreadful noose of material existence, and you slashed everyone's material bondage. But you are unable to cut the knot fastened by your own loving devotees? O stealer of everything, O thief, today I have imprisoned you in a miserable prison house of my heart, which is very fearful due to the terrible darkness of my ignorance, and there for a very long time you will remain, receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery. O Krishna, thief of everything, the noose of my devotion remaining forever tight, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart. I will not release you for millions of eons.
Thank you, Sriram. It felt like as if Krishna is in front of you and you're speaking to him. That's how you read. I mean, that's how you put the expression. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's move on to your brother. I'll share my screen again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dhruv beta, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Auntie?
I'm good too. Thank you. I'm going to start sharing. Go ahead.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Urdhva Moolam Dashakam Ashvatam Prahur Avyayam Chandam Siyasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavid Adashtordvam Prasritastasya Shakha Guna Pravriddha Vishaya Prabalaha Adashta Mulanya Anusantatani Karmanubandini Manushya Loke Na rupam asya tatopalabhyate nanto na chatir na cha sampratishta Ashwatam enam surudha mulam asanga sisterna durdena chitva Tata padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin katana nivartanti bhuyaha tam eva chadyam purusham prapadde yata pravriti prashrita purani nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinirutta kamaha dvander vimukta sukha dukkha samner gacchantya mura padam avyayam tat natadvasyate suryo nasashanko napavakaha yadgatva na nivartante taddama paramam mama Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manasastani indriyani prakriti stani karshati shariram yat शरीरं यद् व्याप्नोति यच्च चापि उत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धनिवासयत् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं ग्रहणम् एव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयान् उपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं सतिं वापि भुञ्जनं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढनानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैवं पश्यन्ति आत्मान्य अविष्टितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृत्मानो नैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मचेतसा यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भास्यते किलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्छग्नौ तत्तेजो विधिमामकम् गामविश्य च भूतानि दार्यम् अहम् ओजस पुष्णामि चौषधिः सर्व सोमो भूत्वा सत्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनं देहम् आश्रित प्राणपानसमायुक्तः पचामि अन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मथा स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमामेति उदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयम् अविश्य बिभर्ति अव्यय ईश्वरः यस्मक्षरम् अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरदापि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतीतः पुरुषोत्तमः यो माम् एवम् असम्मूढो जानति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं षष्ठम् इदं युक्तमया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृतश्च भारत. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, very nice. Good job, Dhruv. Excellent reading.
Thank you, Auntie.
Welcome. We'll now move on to Tristan. Tristan, are you ready, beta, for reading the translations?
Yes, Mother.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to change this to translation. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Next one. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. The branch of this tree is in the downwards and upwards, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to brutal actions of human society. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But the determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began, to whom everything has extended its time immemorial. Those who are free from false perceived illusion and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are free from the realities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. That supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by the fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to the material world. The living entities in this conditioned world are my internal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. The living entity in the material world carries his different perceptions of life from one body to another. As the air carries aromas, thus he takes one kind of body and then quickly to take another. The living entity thus taking another gross body obtains a certain type of ear, eyes, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped by the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the multiple nature. but one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all of this. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though may try. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon, and the splendor of fire also from me. I enter each planet. I enter into each planet, and my energy state. They stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life outgoing and incoming to digest the four kinds of food stuff. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness by all the Vedas. I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Besides these two, there's the great living personality, the supreme soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered three worlds and is maintaining it. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Whoever knows me as the supreme personality of Godhead without doubting is a knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. Sinless one, and it is disclosed not by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
Thank you very much for the nice reading, Tristan. Good job. So we have 12 more minutes. So I thought we will read the purports of text starting from 12 till 15 as given by Prabhupada. So I'm going to also open the purports. So these verses talk about the presence of Krishna everywhere, how he is the cause of all causes. So let's understand more by reading Srila Prabhupada's purports. I will also turn on the verse text. Okay, so the verse goes like this. Yadaditya katam tejo jagad bhasayate khilam yat chandramasi yat chagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. So Krishna is saying the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. What is Prabhupada saying? Let's hear. The unintelligent cannot understand how things are taking place, but one can begin to be established in knowledge by understanding what the Lord explains here. Everyone sees the sun, moon, fire, and electricity. One should simply try to understand that the splendor of the sun, the splendor of the moon, and the splendor of electricity or fire are coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In such a conception of life, the beginning of Krishna consciousness, lies a great deal of advancement for the conditioned soul in this material world. The living entities are essentially the parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and he is giving herewith the hint how they can come back to Godhead, back to home. So the essence here is when we see physically with our eyes, sun, moon, fire, and electricity, we have to also remember that the source of all these things is Krishna. So unfortunately, we don't remember the source, but we only enjoy the benefits of the things that are around us in the material world. However, when we are conscious of the source of all the facilities that we are enjoying in the material world, then that becomes a Krishna conscious life. And Krishna is giving us that information so that we can become conscious of him. Continuing with the purport. From this verse, we can understand that the sun is illuminating the whole solar system. That's what we learned, right? Sun is the center star around which all the planets revolve, and Sun is illuminating the whole solar system. There are different universes and solar systems, and there are different suns, moons, and planets also. But in each universe, there is only one sun. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10:21 verse, the moon is one of the stars, nakshatranam aham sashi. Sunlight is due to the spiritual effulgence in the spiritual sky of the Supreme Lord. With the rise of the sun, the activities of human beings are set up. They set fire to prepare their foodstuff. They set fire to start the factories, etc. So many things are done with the help of fire. Therefore, sunrise, fire, and moonlight are so pleasing to the living entities. Without their help, no living entity can live. So, if one can understand that the light and splendor of the sun, moon, and fire are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, then one's Krishna consciousness will begin. See how simple it is. We don't have to endeavor differently or do something differently to remember Krishna or to become conscious of Krishna. All we have to do is the source of everything that we are enjoying. Just like Prabhupada says that when we wake up in the morning, we make food for our family, for our children, for our own selves, because that is what we subsist on. Without food, we cannot live. And when we cook food, we have to turn on the stove, and there the fire. And the source of fire is Krishna. Sunrise, only after sunrise are we all able to perform our activities because of the light. And then the vegetation is there because of sunrise. The food that we eat comes from the sun. So when we remember the source of everything that is supporting us, which is Krishna, then we become Krishna conscious. And that's exactly what Prabhupada is saying, that when we understand that the light and the splendor of the sun, the moon, and the fire are emanating from Supreme Lord, then it becomes a Krishna conscious life and beginning of Krishna consciousness. One might wonder, when do we turn on fire? Or when do we start fire in the factories? We don't do that nowadays, right? We don't have factories where we depend on fire. But in reality, we are depending on fire. The electricity that we use for turning on our computers, turning on the lights, the fans, for turning on our phones, everything is another form of fire, which is coming from the source, which is sun. So Krishna is indirectly and directly present in our life. It's part of our life. Only thing is, we are not conscious of it. But these verses help us become conscious of Krishna. By the moonshine, all the vegetables are nourished. The moonshine is so pleasing that people can easily understand that they are living by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Without his mercy, there cannot be sun. Without his mercy, there cannot be moon. And without his mercy, there cannot be fire. And without the help of sun, moon, and fire, no one can live. This is a fact which everybody knows. Without the help of sun, moon, and fire, no one can live. One fact that many of us did not know, maybe until now that we read this verse, the translations, or since we started reading this chapter, is the juice of the vegetables comes from the moonshine, which is an interesting revelation, right? We always think sunshine is the cause of vegetation. But in this chapter, in this verse, Krishna is saying the moonshine is coming from, the moonshine is giving the juice in the vegetables. These are some thoughts to provoke Krishna consciousness in the conditioned soul. So, very nice way to remember Krishna, remembering that the cause of all causes and the source of the facilities that we enjoy is Lord Shri Krishna. Now let's read the next verse, which also explains to us how Krishna is doing so much for us, or in other words, how he is maintaining our existence and the planets that we live in. Text 13. Gama vishya bhutani dharayamyahamojasa pushnami chausadi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. So again, moonshine and the power of moonshine is being repeated in this verse. So let's read the purport as given by Srila Prabhupada. It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being. That is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. It is said there that one plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity, and even into the atom. Based on what we learned in school or in chemical science or in chemistry, we know that every atom has a nucleus, it has protons, electrons, and maybe some other subatomic particles that have been recently discovered. But we were never told that there's Paramatma inside every atom. But this is true knowledge, and true knowledge is missing from our material knowledge. Here in Bhagavad Gita, and by the way of purpose by Srila Prabhupada, he's saying that Krishna is present in every atom. That is the fundamental knowledge which we all have to know. Of course, along with the knowledge that we seek in material schools, that yes, atoms are made up of protons, neutrons, electrons. On top of it, or the fundamental point is Krishna is present in every atom, and he's running the show inside each atom as to whatever is happening. So due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water. But when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body sinks. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like straw and other things. But as soon as the man is dead, he at once sinks in the water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What a powerful revelation here. Again, Prabhupada is giving the analogy of how a body with life floats on water, but as soon as the life leaves the body, it what you call sinks. Similarly, the analogy that Prabhupada is drawing here is the planets are floating in the atmosphere or in the solar system. Why? Because Krishna has entered into each of those planets through his energy, as his energy. His energy is sustaining each planet just like a handful of dust. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the fist of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. By his strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. So even the sun does not shine by itself or by that living, by that entity itself, right? It actually gets the energy and power from Krishna. Were it not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in air and perish. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the moon nourishes all vegetables. Due to the moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. So if you like a vegetable, the taste of a vegetable, then it's time for all of us to thank Krishna. When I'm eating my favorite vegetable, then I better first thank Krishna, because Krishna is, through the moonlight, is giving that taste to that vegetable, right? That way I become Krishna conscious. Without the moonshine, the vegetables can neither grow nor taste succulent. Human society is working, living comfortably and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. The word rasatmakaha is very significant. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. What a beautiful purport and summary given by Srila Prabhupada. Did we know all these things? We cook, and for cooking the source of his fire, we cook vegetables and grains. And we now know that the vegetables, the grains, everything get their juice and their taste from Krishna through the moonlight. And then the planets are held in space because of Krishna's energy. Sun gets the sunshine because of Krishna's energy. These are fundamental things which we experience. However, we never remember Krishna, isn't it? How many of us, now, isn't this chapter now helpful to think about Krishna and become more conscious of Krishna? It becomes second nature now, because now that we read the translation, even if you don't want to remember, it becomes, by repeatedly listening to this chapter this whole month, we will like, when we enjoy a vegetable, when we enjoy some food, or when we're enjoying sunshine and moonshine, we automatically remember Krishna. That's why we should read Bhagavad Gita on a daily basis, so that it becomes part of our second nature and part of our life. And Krishna consciousness is not something which we have to endeavor differently. It is something which we can do while doing whatever we are doing in our daily life. So on that note, we'll sign off for today. We'll see you all tomorrow again. Same place, same time. Thank you all for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone.